Hello, my name is Trevor Lewis, and this is another video from the Voyager Middle School STEAM Lab. In this video, I'm going to show you how to check your grades and feedback in Schoology if you're a student. There's a lot of different ways to check for feedback, and it really depends on how your teacher is giving you the feedback. I'm going to try and show you all of the ways using a student account. So here we go. This is a student account that I've borrowed, that I have permission to borrow, and you can see that we've got an announcement up at the top here, we've got upcoming down here, we've got the rest of our materials down here. If this student had not turned in an assignment where the due date was passed, it should show up right here in a box that says overdue. So that's one place to look just for feedback that's automatic in Schoology when you have that overdue assignment. From a student view, there's a few different ways to get into grades. On the left over here we have grades. This takes me into the grades for this course only. Up at the top we have grades. This takes me into a page where it shows me all of my courses, and I can click on them to expand and see all the grades. So let's look at these grades first. So this student, you can see, is doing pretty well. It can be a little confusing because I look up here and I say, oh no, summative assessment 60%. Well, that's actually a category weight. That is not what the percentage is in that category right now. So if you look down here, you can see individual grades. So we know that this is category weights because of this 60%. You could also have a total points situation where you just add up the total points earned right here in this column and divide by the total points possible in this column to find your grade. This one, you're going to do that in each of the individual categories and then do your category weights. I think that's what that means. We can see we got some pretty good grades here. We've even got an icon here that shows that there's a submission here. And there's some really great comments. So these are gradebook comments. These will actually, the first part of them will come into Cumulative when you press sync. So if you might be able to see this in Cumulative as well. But these are grade book comments. So when the teacher's putting in the grade, if they put the comment right there and they check the box to show it to the student, that's where it's going to show up. Okay? And so I can scroll down here and see there's lots and lots of grades. And then I wanted to show you one of these. So this one right here, this dash, can mean a lot of different things. What it mostly means is that the teacher has not entered a grade. So there could be a couple of different reasons for that. This one is a recent assignment, so it's probably just that the teacher hasn't graded this yet. You can also tell that because there is this little page icon indicating that the student has made a submission. You can also click on this to go straight to that assignment and have a look at it. But you can also get these, especially if they're older. I don't like to put in low points for all of my students all the time, especially if I'm really trying to have them focus on individual assignments at a time. So this could mean that you don't have anything turned in, especially if there's no little blue icon next to it. But that is not universal, because if it's a different type of assignment, like an assignment you do on a different web page, and like big ideas or something like that, you might not get that blue icon. So you can see we have lots of different grades and feedback here. And if we want to see one of these in particular, so I'm going to go up to one of these that I know is a Google Doc. I think these are all Google Docs. I'm going to click on one of these. On a Google Drive assignment, you're going to get to this page. This is the description of the assignment. If I want to see the actual work that I did as a student, I would click on My Document. You see you've got a grade here, and if I click here, I've got the comments. You can see that the way I'm simulating this student, it's not working to show with their Google account, but you should be able to see your actual document here. And in Google Docs, the teacher can also write right on the document. They can highlight things, and off on the margin there can be a comment, or they can suggest edits. They can say, cut this part, do this part. And the other thing to know about Google Doc assignments that's really important is if you're in here and you can't make changes and everything's got green stripes on it, it's because you're in suggesting mode. And that's because you've submitted the assignment and it hasn't been unsubmitted. You'll notice I can't unsubmit this assignment because it's past the due date. The teacher can still unsubmit the assignment, but the student cannot. But the student can edit the assignment just in suggesting mode. So they can suggest edits, and the teacher, who has control of the document because it's been after the due date, can approve those edits or not. Okay, so that's something to be aware about with a Google assignment. The other place to check grades is up top here. So I'm going to click on up top, I'm going to click on grades, And you've got mastery, attendance, and grade report. We're not really using attendance in our school district. Mastery, some teachers might be using if they're paying attention to particular standards, but grade report is what most of our secondary students are going to be checking on. And you can see here are all the classes. And this is the class I just checked, but I can expand out a different class. And you can see this class has got some different things going on here. So we've got some different stuff, and I've even got this little like pencil with a speech bubble icon. Let's have a look at this one. When I click on this one, and I'm going to click on it right here, and I'm going to go straight to that assignment. And you see I opened in a new tab, and this assignment's got a grade on it, but this is a discussion, so that's why it had that icon. But this icon is a document, and this icon right here means that it was graded with a rubric. So the rubric can also provide feedback. If I click on it, I can see I did these things. That's why I have an 8 out of 8. I can collapse this rubric by pushing the X here. Sometimes that rubric can give you some feedback. Uh-oh, I found one that is missing. So if I have this hexagon icon, that is a missing assignment, and it will be a 0, and it will count as a 0, and you can see it putting missing here. So this is one that I'm going to want to go back as a student and redo, and I should be able to do that, and the teacher should be able to change this missing assignment. In my class, I won't see a 0 because I don't give zeros for missing assignments. My lowest grade is a 50% because of the way I do my grading. So you won't have this little octagon, but if you see that 50%, I usually have a gradebook comment that'll say missing off to the side here. Okay, so that's how I'm doing my grades. You can see how these grades are. Let me show you. I'm going to choose one. Let's go to, we'll go to this missing assignment right here. So in this missing assignment, this is a standard Schoology assignment. So there's no Google Doc, but this is where I'd press submit my assignment. And this is where I would see my submissions if they were there. Okay, so that kind of assignment, has another place to view comments. So this is an important thing for you to realize. So let's see if I can grab one here. So on this one, you can see there's one assignment submitted. It was submitted on time, and I could resubmit if I wanted to, but it would probably be late because it's past the due date. But if I click here, there are some really good comments that are hiding under here. There's some class comments down here. I usually turn those off, but this is a good place for the student. The student can type a comment right here. I'm logged in as a student, so I can say, did you like this squirrel that I sent you? And then I can hit post, and then the teacher can see it, and the teacher can post back and forth, and the teacher can even post recordings here that I can then follow, and I can look at my document and do what the teacher has said here and resubmit. So this is a really important place to check, and it's difficult for you to find this without actually clicking on the submissions, right? So that's an important place, and when you're in this view, to get back, you're going to click this X here to close the submission. You can usually see these if you click on the bell here. So you can see there's new grades and there's comments and there's all sorts of stuff going on in here. But this can be hard to follow. So if a teacher gives you a comment, you might want to do that. But you can see there's 33 of these since the last time this student has opened this up. And then as soon as I stop checking it, it goes back to 0. So it's easy to miss things there. So it's important to look back, which is why I suggest you use the calendar. The calendar is a really great way to look back in time. So I clicked on the calendar. It's loading, maybe. Let's try again. So this calendar, this student is very wisely color-coded this calendar. And the way you color-code a calendar is you click up here where it says all calendars, and you can choose which ones to show. This student has color-coded the calendar so that down here, even if they're not labeled, they can say, okay, this class is pink, so even if I can't tell by the name of the assignment, I can tell what's going on. So if I'm really curious about my feedback on a particular, oops, I always do this. If you click on an empty cell, it opens up a new event. I'm sorry. If I'm really curious about my feedback on a particular assignment, I can click on it, and I can click on View Item, and then I can see my feedback on that assignment. Okay? So that's an important way to check for feedback as well. So those are all the different ways to check for feedback. Let me say a little bit about Cumulative. So in Cumulative, your grades are going to be there too, because the teacher is going to be pressing sync. The comments will be there too, but sometimes they're confusing. Like if a teacher marks something as excused in Cumulative, it's going to show up as a 0, but there's going to be a little checkbox that says this doesn't count. It says no count. And so it doesn't affect your grade, but it doesn't say excused anywhere. So I think you should probably check your grades in Schoology. But if you're having trouble because like maybe you can't see your overall grade in Schoology, you might ask the teacher because the teacher can change that setting. Okay, they can change it so that you can see your overall grade there, and as well as seeing it in Cumulative. Cumulative is what goes on the report card, so it's always a good idea to check on Cumulative sometimes. And if your grades disagree, it might be because the teacher hasn't pressed sync in a while, and you might ask your teacher about that. But the grade that counts is in Cumulative, but you're going to get a lot more feedback if you're checking your grades in Schoology. So that's all I've got for you today. Hopefully that'll help you understand how to be checking your grades, where to look. Remember, you can check your grades at the top or on the side, whether it's for all classes or just one. Remember, you can click right into the assignment and do it right then. Remember that you can check for feedback on your grades page, but that's the grade comment feedback. And then if you click on the assignment and you click on the submission, you can get the submission feedback. And that's a two-way street. So you can send your teacher a message there too. If you're having trouble sending your teacher a message, always just click that envelope in the upper right-hand corner and just type in your teacher's name and send them a Schoology message, and they should be able to get back to you from there. All right.